Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We'll be learning more about tangent and you will be able to do 6.2. Today students will be able to find side lengths of right triangles by using tangent ratios. And just to review, remember that tangent of theta is equals to opposite of our adjacent. The opposite is going to be always, if we're talking about this angle, straight across from it. That's the opposite. Straight in front of it, okay? And adjacent is the side between the 90-degree angle and the angle that we have as theta, okay? Between the two angles, the 90-degree, which is that little square, that means 90 degrees, and the angle that we're talking about. That's the adjacent, okay? So for tangent, if there is no information at all, even if it's a variable or a number given to you, but it's not on the hypotenuse, then that's when we're going to be using tangent, okay? Here's the first example. It says, find the value of x to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we need to know how to round as well. And so in here, we have this angle. Straight across or opposite from it is when you go straight in front. And if you notice, this side is between the 90-degree angle and the angle that we're talking about. So that's the adjacent. So what I recommend all the time is to just label them. Label adjacent, then label opposite, okay? And that way it's gonna help you. And notice how in the hypotenuse, there is no x, there is no value. And sometimes it could have a value, but right now it's not giving it to us. So you need to identify anyways. So we're gonna say that tangent of theta, this is just the formula, is equals to opposite over adjacent. And so we're going to replace tangent of 44 degrees is equal to, opposite is x, adjacent, we already labeled it, that is the 10. Now we need to solve for x so that we know how to, so that we can find what this measurement is. And so if we're dividing x by 10, the opposite of division, if we're dividing x by 10, then we multiply to cancel that. This cancels, and you get x equal. Now, remember from the last lesson that you might have this type of calculator, or you might have this type of calculator, or some other type, but it's going to follow one of the rules of how to input the information. So if you're using this one, let me write it in blue, since this has a little bit of blue. You're going to go backwards, okay? And that's going to be 44. Then you're going to hit, so you start from here, the 44, then the tangent, then the parenthesis means multiply, and then 10, and finally equal, okay? So first the angle measurement, then you're gonna press tangent, so let's do that as we go. Tangent, then times, remember that the parenthesis means times, then the measurement of the adjacent and side. Did I press times? I'm not sure. And then equal. I didn't. Okay, again, 44, tangent, times, which I forgot to do, and then 10, and then finally equal. So the answer is 9. Now in here it says 9.65688, etc. But remember that you have to round to the nearest tenth. What does that mean? Let me write it in here. It says 9.6568, and then it goes on. This is tenths. The first after the decimal point is tenths, then it's hundredths, then thousandths, and then 10,000ths. But in here, they want us to round to this place value, the 10th value. So to know if this stays at 6 or if it goes up 1, we look at the value of the next, or the hundredths place. If this is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, this goes up by 1. And we just write that part, 9.7. If it had been 4, 3, 2, or 1, then, or 0, then it stays at 9.6. Since it's a 5, it goes up to 9.7. What kind of measurement? Meters, okay? Make sure that you write the unit of measurement. Now, what if you had the other type of calculator? For this calculator, I'm gonna put it in red. It doesn't have red. What you're gonna do is just take it as it is. First, write the 10. Then 10 times, right? The parenthesis means times, so you're gonna put times. Let me not forget about it. So do it now. Then you're gonna hit tangent, and it automatically opens a parenthesis. Okay, let me show you. You press tangent and see how that opens a parenthesis. And after that, you're just gonna put the degrees. So 10 times tangent, and then the degrees, the angle. 44. Some calculators, you need to close the parentheses, which is right here, and then equal. Okay, let me write down here, equal. If you notice, you're gonna get the same answer, 9.6568, etc. Okay, and again, you just round from there. So whichever works for your calculator, you can write both and try it with your calculators, because sometimes you get one and then you end up with another one, and so it's good to have the notes. Or you can just write the one that belongs to your, it's up to you. Or write both and circle the one that is to your calculator, in case in the future you need that note. Oh, and the reason for which I put in here, I was using different variables, but that's why I changed it. Okay, number 2 says we have 32, an x, and a 1. The hypotenuse doesn't have information, so leave the hypotenuse alone. We don't need the hypotenuse. And here is going to be tangent of theta. It's good to write the formula so that you can remember it. It's always opposite over adjacent. And so, what is theta? 32 is the degrees in there. What is the opposite? The opposite is always straight in front of it, which is a 1. Divided by adjacent. What is adjacent? Adjacent is always between the angle and the 90-degree angle. So from here to here, that's the adjacent, which is x. Now, the long way to do this is, if we're dividing by x, we're going to cancel by multiplying by x. This cancels, but that didn't leave my x by itself, only the 1. I need x by itself, so let me rewrite that. X times tangent of 32. To leave x by itself, if I'm multiplying x times all of these, I'm going to divide by tangent of 32 degrees. If I do it on one side, I do it on the other side. This cancels, And now, if you notice, this is my equal sign. On this side, I only have x because the rest canceled. And in here, I have 1 divided. This means divided by tangent of 32. Let me show you how to do it with this calculator. What you're going to do is, and I'm going to write it in a minute, but it's 1 divided by, you go backwards. Remember that for the angle and the tangent sign, you go backwards. So it's 32 tangent, and then finally equal. So the answer for this one is both hundredths and tenths are going to be 1.6, okay? 1.6. So for the blue, and again, this sometimes changes, but specifically mine is blue, you go in this direction. You start at the top, which is your 1. You go down to the division, which is this line, and then you go like a J in that direction. Top, division, the angle, and then tangent, and then finally equal. Okay, let me write it down. 1, which is the whatever is in the numerator, divided by, and this part is the one that is backwards. Angle first, tangent second, and don't forget equal. With the other calculator, it's going to be 1 divided by, so this part is the same for both. For this calculator, you're going to do tangent of 32. Tangent, and it opens parentheses, of 32. Okay? You close your parentheses and you put equal. 1.6. Now let me write it down. So what you did was 1 divided by, these are backwards, see? Tangent, it opens a parenthesis by itself. 32, you close the parentheses. Sometimes it requires the parenthesis, sometimes it doesn't, and then equal. Okay, so again, the only steps that are backwards are this part right here. For the tiny calculator, first the angle, then tangent, then equal. For the other calculator, first tangent, then 32, then parentheses, then equal. Okay, so in one is from right to left, on the big one is from left to right, close parentheses and equal. But the measurement is 1.6. 1.6, and this one doesn't have what kind of unit. So you can put units or just leave it like that. Okay, 1.6 units. And to make it easier for your teacher, you can even put 1.6 here. Same here, x is equals to 9.7. Oops, I didn't show you. X equals 9.7. Okay, let's do 2 more. In here, it's a little more tricky because you have all 3 angles and you can actually find the measurement of x using this angle or this angle. Okay, so we'll see. I'm going to show you both ways. So if I use the 54, it's going to be tangent of 54 is equal, oops, and the formula, tangent of theta is equals to opposite over adjacent. And what is the opposite? It's straight in front. Okay, so opposite, I'm sorry that I didn't leave much space. I'm going to put it here. X over, what is your adjacent? And this is where the tricky part is. So this is my 90-degree angle. This is the angle that I'm talking about or using. So it has to be between the 2 angles. So that's going to be 3.5. Okay, so 3.5. In here, we're dividing by 3.5. I can multiply by 3.5 on both sides. This cancels, and x is by itself, which is great. Okay, in this calculator is, remember, for this one is backwards. Let's try to do it without the explanation. So it's backwards is just 54 tangent times, don't forget the times, 3.5, and then just press equal. So the answer is 4.8 centimeters. With the other calculator, it's going forward. So it's 3.5. Remember, that means times tangent 54, close parentheses, equal. And the answer is also 4.8. The one doesn't give it to 9, doesn't make it 9 because the one has to be 5 or more, okay, in order for the tenths to go up. Now let me show you using the other angle. Now I'm gonna use this angle right here. So tangent of 36 is equals to opposite. Now the opposite of 36 is straight in front of that, so that's gonna be 3.5 over adjacent. Adjacent for this one is between the angle that we're talking about and the 90-degree angle, which is x. So over x. Now, in here, remember that we used to, if we're dividing, we're going to multiply by x. This cancels, I get 3.5 equals x times tangent of 36, right? Because we cancel it by multiplying. But what we want to do is leave x by itself. So we're going to divide by tangent of 36, both sides. This cancels, and x equals, and then we can just go this way or go this way, okay? Depending on the calculator. Also, I want you to notice something that you can do to skip all these steps. Whenever you have the x in the denominator, you can just bring it over here. And it didn't have this x over here, right? And this tangent of 36, just bring it in the denominator. So these two switch places. The x is in the place of tangent of 36, and the tangent of 36 is where the x was, in the denominator. Okay, just switch those. X in here, tangent of 36 in here. And that's a shortcut. Ask your teacher if they're okay with it though. Okay, calculators. 3.5 divided by 36 tangent. And then press equal. 4.8. Notice how even though we switched it, we still get the 4.8 centimeters. With this calculator, this was the multiplication one. Let's clear it. We're going to do 3.5 divided by, in here, first the tangent, then the 36, close the parentheses, and equal. 4.8, okay? So even if we use this one or this, any of the two, we're gonna get 4.8, and with both calculators. Okay, one more. Okay, we have this angle right here. It's gonna be tangent of theta equals opposite over adjacent. It's going to be tangent of 85. Remember that theta represents the measurement of the angle. Opposite is straight in front of it. So it's going to be x over 1. Now to leave x by itself, we're going to multiply by 1. This cancels, and the value of x is, with the small one, remember that we go backwards. It's going to be 85 tangent, remember this means times 1, and then equal. The answer is 11.4 inches. The 3 cannot give any to the 4, so that's it. If it's 4 or less, that one stays the same. Now with this other calculator, it goes from left to right. 1 times tangent 85, close, and equal. Okay, so 11.4 inches. So again, the only thing that I think I want to clarify is this part right here, that I can have tangent of 36, right? Tangent of 36 is equals to opposite, which is 3.5, over adjacent, which was x. This is what we had here. Then, instead of canceling by multiplying the x, just switch this. Take out the tangent of x and put x equals. You're gonna just copy this part right here, 3.5 divided by, and then instead of x, because these are switching places, in here instead of x that you brought it over there, it's going to be tangent of 36. Okay, x equals 3.5 divided by tangent of 36. So that's just a shortcut, and it's only when x is in the denominator. Okay, otherwise if it's a number, you just cancel by multiplying. And so with this, you are now able to do 6.2, and if you have questions about the calculator, make sure that you look at the first 2 examples, and have fun.